relationship expert, but the truth is that he's actually been through several divorces and multiple cheating scandals, and you'll never believe all the insane drama he's been involved in over the years. It seems that Steve has done it all, from being one of the most famous TV hosts, actors, and even writers. It's clear that he's had a lot of success, but it seems that one thing that he's always struggled with is his personal life. Not only has he had multiple divorces, but he has also been sued for $60 million by one of his ex-wives. Steve married his first wife, Marcia Harvey, way before he even made a name for himself. Both of them were struggling to make ends meet and went through a lot of hardships in order for Steve to get recognized in the entertainment industry. But when work finally started to kick in, Steve was away from Marcia and his children, and he barely had the time to see them. The distance was hard for them, and they eventually drifted apart. Marcia moved out with her children, and Steve continued to grow in his career. However, they didn't get divorced until a year after their split, and by that time, Steve was already seeing another woman. Some people believe that the reason why they broke things off in the first place was that Marcia discovered that Steve had been unfaithful and wasn't planning on stopping. Not to mention that this was around the time that she was pregnant with Steve's third child. But unlike Steve's second wife, Marcia stayed away from the public eye and tried to keep their marital issues private. Even to this day, she kept away from the spotlight and seems to live a pretty low-key life. So because of that, there's obviously a lot that we still don't know about their relationship. Just 2 years after Steve split from his first wife in 1994, he married Mary Shackelford. Steve met Mary way back when he was still married and living with Marcia. He was doing a stand-up comedy show at the time, and Mary caught his eye right away. Nothing is for certain, but there are rumors that suggest that Steve and Mary were secretly having an affair even before Marcia became pregnant with Steve's third child. The marriage between them lasted for 9 years until they filed for divorce in 2006. Mary stayed silent in the beginning and continued doing so even after the divorce was finalized. But then she discovered a private letter from one of Steve's lovers, which caused everything to turn ugly. Around 2011, Mary decided to speak up about the reason behind their divorce. She then continued to file a $60 million lawsuit against him, claiming that he'd harmed their child and emotionally damaged her in the process. Luckily for Steve, Mary ended up losing the lawsuit. He then later got married to his third wife, Marjorie, who is the founder of Lady Love Couture. Steve and Marjorie have recently celebrated their 15th anniversary, and it seems that this marriage might finally be his last. During his third and final marriage, Steve did something really unexpected. He published a book titled Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, in which he gave relationship advice to women who wanted to know more about men. And the reason I said this was unexpected is that this feels like an unusual step for someone who's had this many relationship issues. Steve started the book by saying that everything people needed to know about men was in this book, and shockingly, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man instantly became a bestseller. It's supposed to help women find out what men think about love, intimacy, and commitment. I honestly hope that Steve wrote this book with the help of a real relationship expert, because otherwise, this book is basically just his opinion on what men think. Honestly, it's kind of bizarre to me that Steve decided to write a book that was supposed to help women. Considering the fact that he has divorced twice, cheated, and gotten sued for millions of dollars by a woman, it just seems to me like he might not be the best person to give out advice like this. But then again, I don't know. The book was probably edited by professionals and reviewed a bunch of times before it was published. And it did become a bestseller. It was even later turned into a movie starring some well-known actors such as Taraji P. Henson, Megan Good, and Michael Ealy. However, the movie received some criticism, with some critics saying that it took the book too seriously at times. One critic, Roger Ebert, said that the movie would make a perfect comedy or satire, and I feel like he kind of had a point. It would be fun to watch the characters live their lives following Steve's advice precisely, with some comedy sprinkled into it. After Steve found that he could profit from his writing, he went on to write three other similar books. All of them gave advice on how a woman could understand men better, and this whole thing actually made me wonder how his wife and ex-wives felt about these books. Mary has definitely made it clear what kind of man she thought Steve was. She said that Steve wasn't really the guy that people thought. According to her, he acts one way in public, but he is the complete opposite as soon as the cameras turn off. Honestly, I don't blame her for feeling some type of way about Steve, especially since apparently Steve did to her what he did to his first wife. He was supposedly having an affair with Marjorie while he was still married to Mary, which she found out through the letter as well, which is pretty crazy that happened twice. But this wasn't the only letter that she received about Steve's infidelities. Mary had apparently received another letter from one of Steve's lovers, which supposedly went into great detail about their intimacy and the weird stuff they'd done while hooking up. According to Mary, the letter also said something about abortion. And what was even more shocking was that she received this letter right around the time she was pregnant with their son. I can definitely see a pattern here. It seems that he's done the same exact thing twice. It's honestly kind of scary. Mary did actually forgive him for the infidelity, but that obviously didn't stop Steve from continuing to be unfaithful. And the only reason that she'd apparently stayed with him for so long was that she worked hard for their family and she just didn't want to admit to herself that it was a complete wreck. Apart from Mary, there was also rumors that Steve has cheated on Marjorie as well. At this point, I honestly wouldn't be surprised, and I don't think Marjorie would be either. She probably knows the man she married pretty well, and maybe she's just accepted him as he is. At one point, there was even rumors that Steve cheated on her with Kris Jenner, but Marjorie quickly shut those rumors down by jokingly posting that the only thing Steve has cheated on is his diet. And this wasn't the first time that Marjorie had shut down rumors. They both made headlines back in 2019 when it was reported that they were close to filing for divorce. But Marjorie revealed that she was shocked after she learned about the fake news. And it seems like they're still happily together after all these years. So maybe Steve's learned his lesson, but who knows? Anyway, what do you guys think? Did you know about all of Steve's crazy cheating scandals? And what do you think about him giving out relationship advice? Let me know in the comments down below.